Hey guys, Flamengo greetings. This is Flamengo. Welcome to the Paparazzo Rubro Negro channel. If you're just arriving, I invite you to follow, like, and share on all platforms, including YouTube. Please subscribe, turn on notifications with the bell, and leave a like on the video. We always remind you that with Haroldo's Caravan, you can be present at Flamengo's games anywhere in Brazil and around the world, okay? And VIP service, man, it's spectacular. Also, let me remind you that you can get Flamengo's jerseys, man. Okay, this one from Brasileirão is top notch, right? This one from Brasileirão this one here from Brasileirão is top 2. Zico's jersey. You can get it on YouTube shop, right? On Shopee. And of course, we're also putting here the Guia da Libertadores from Placa magazine. It's spectacular. Man, it's just like those sticker albums that have all the information. Yeah, Placa really did a great job. You don't need to collect anything. You'll just buy the guide and keep up with all the information on the 2026 Copa Libertadores. It's all here on YouTube shop. Man, I want to start the video here by talking about the atmosphere at Ninho do Urubu. Congrats to the club's communications team and the press for the space they've provided. I want to congratulate the board and everyone in the football department for the fantastic work they're doing. They managed to put an end to the leaks. They managed to improve the training center. It's incredible, right? I want to congratulate everyone there, Gabriel Skinner, Rodrigo Paiva, Greg, Rafa Gaucho, who are doing a fantastic job there in Flamengo's football department, Leonardo Jardim, who managed to come in and win over the group quickly, the players who stood by De La Cruz, right? And they also helped De La Cruz recover. It's important for us to mention this, the participation of everyone there, especially Arrascaeta and Varela, who are closer to him. Flamengo gets back a fantastic asset, in my opinion, the best defensive midfielder in South America, the best defensive midfielder in Brazil and in South America, and who would definitely be playing for top-tier teams in Europe if he were in Europe. He also had a physical problem that he has already overcome, and now, God willing, with all the necessary care, he's going to be a player who will help us win multiple titles again, and De La Cruz plays really well, man. Yeah. I understand that some fans joked about the whole De Lassas thing because he was having recurring physical problems. But that's not what De La Cruz deserves. De La Cruz deserves our affection, our love, our support. He's a guy that, if you didn't know, I heard that off the field. He's also someone who helps everyone. He didn't deserve anything that happened today, what happened, those leaks and all. So I'm really happy. And I think the atmosphere at Ninho do Urubu says a lot about what's happening with Nicolas de la Cruz too, and that's important. I even posted here, the atmosphere at Ninho do Urubu is wonderful. Congratulations to the board. Besides that, communication is at its best. Flamengo TV is doing great too. Incredible audience, international broadcast, amazing training center, no leaks. Nothing leaks anymore, no lineups leak. You can guess, but nothing leaks. An incredible moment right now, and obviously if you like drama, just go on X and you'll see people who like drama get upset because there's no drama. By the way, it's important for us to mention this here. A lot of people used to say that Jose Boto, the players didn't get along with Boto, they didn't like Boto. Take a look at this photo here, for example, of Gilvan. Look there. Jose Boto, Arrascaeta, De La Cruz, and Varela, the three of them there, all getting along great. And there are other images here, like this one from Flamengo TV, which shows the atmosphere at Ninho do Urubu, okay? Look over there. There he is, Jose Boto. Look, Leo Pereira went to talk to Boto, okay? You can see there the players. Look, Luís Araujo giving a hug. Leo Pereira going to talk to Boto, man. So all this story about, oh, he doesn't get along with player A, doesn't get along with player B, including Leo Pereira, who was there, right? A salary increase, everyone is getting along, okay? Everything is being resolved, even Pedro, okay? Who was going through a tough time before. They said he didn't like the leak over there, the conversation with Boto, all of that is over now. The atmosphere at Flamengo today at Ninho do Urubu is different. Flamengo has a vibe it hasn't had in a long time, okay? The management... Today, the management of the squad at the training center is impressive. And it's not just Leonardo Jardim. Obviously, he's important, and it seems he manages the group really well. But what's happening with that information we brought to you about 2 or 3 weeks ago? It's about the help, including from players like Danilo, right? From the more experienced players, right? Danilo, Alexandre, Jorginho, right? This support has been really important. And it turns out that Flamengo, which people were saying was in crisis and all that, which is what they like, right? Crisis is Flamengo didn't even need to sign Fabio, Luciano, or a player there to play midfield. That's with Vaikshar. So, man, congratulations to Flamengo. It's a fantastic moment, even to congratulate them because they opened up the training sessions at Ninho do Urubu again. It's important. We're there following along too, bringing everything to you. Flamengo always sharing training footage, sending everything, man. It's really great work, you know? It's a really cool job that we haven't had in a long time. Yeah, we didn't have this kind of news, right? Flamengo is so interesting now, doing so many things right, you know, man. And no leaks. What makes me happiest is that there are no leaks. They got rid of the snitch, right? The snitching is over. And maybe that's why people who like drama are upset, right? Yeah, that's a serious problem. We have some important information to share with you. Let's talk about Saul, right? That's information we've confirmed, right? The medical department itself released some information for everyone at the training. We had an open training session yesterday and they talked to the journalists. So we end up bringing some of that information here. And this information isn't really a leak, so I'm against leaks. But when it's good information, important news, I think it's worth leaking the lineup. I've never supported it. I no longer criticize journalists for it, but I still have my thoughts. There are different situations. Yeah, so I'm going to bring you this information about Saul so we can also talk about what's going on. The accusation involving the great Fernando Gil. Our friend Fernando Gil made a mistake. He made a mistake and admitted it. We're also going to talk here about Abel Ferreira's punishment being reduced and everything else. It wasn't reduced by much, but we're going to talk about it here. Here, look, with Saul recovered, Leonardo Jardim can use the player again. Even as a non-starter, the Spaniard adds options and enables more midfield rotation. As a defensive midfielder, he offers an option to prevent dropping back or crowding the midfield. Despite the Brazilians' good performance in the Fla-Flu, we know it would be interesting to have this extra option. The competition for the position includes De La Cruz and Everton Araujo. Flamengo now has plenty of options again, even without Pulgar and without Jorginho coming back. Look at how strong Flamengo's squad is. Besides Saul himself, who played in that position for most of his time at Sevilla, even though it's his original position, Saul can also play wider on the right, a role initially thought of by Felipe Luís. He wasn't playing in his usual position even with Felipe. Sure, he played there too, but it wasn't where he stood out the most. Okay, did you know that? And Saul also wasn't playing in the position where he stands out the most with Felipe Luís. Okay, and look, just look at the option that Jardim gets. With De La Cruz and everyone healthy, look at what that gives us. Then there's Pulgar, Jorginho, but above all, De La Cruz and healthy. Flamengo is stacked in midfield, my friends. Can they lose the game? Yes, they can. But it's a squad. It's a real squad. That's what's opening up for Flamengo this year. Tá? Yeah. His return increases the competition in an already crowded position group, which also has options like Carrascal and Plata, who are more focused on speed down the flanks. That's if he plays on the right as well. So he gives an option on the right, gives an option in the middle, and Flamengo's in a great position with the return of the Spaniard Saul Niguez. I was really happy with Saul's return. Now I'm going to talk about Lugó from Turma do Amendoim. Rapaz, o Lugó da Turma do Amendoim, He talked about Flamengo again. They only think about Flamengo. Hey, Lugó, stop thinking about Mengao, Lugó. Looks like you need a diaper change, Lugó. Look, just to bring this up, since we're going to talk about Lugó, the STJD reduced Abel Ferreira's punishment. The Superior Sports Justice Court reduced the punishment, and the Portuguese coach had been suspended for 8 games. Now his punishment has been reduced to 7 matches away from the sidelines. Abel has already served 3, and he will be out for Palmeiras' next 4 matches in the Brazilian Championship against Atlético Paranaense, Red Bull Bragantino, Santos, and Remo. As for Carrascal, his punishment was reduced to 2, and he still has 1 left. Against Fluminense, he won't play against Bahia, Vitória, and Galo. Is that right? Yeah. Also, I'm bringing this here for you, okay? Yeah. A situação aqui do Lugó, tá? Ele tá aí. He's upset, guys. He's upset. And then we'll wrap up our video with Fernando Gil. My position here regarding Fernando Gil, who was punished. Fernando Gil was suspended for 30 days at least until a review. The first suspension is 30 days. Away from Maracanã. O Lugó tá preocupado with Flamengo and worried about Flamengo signing Luís Henrique and Danilo. Look,
I see Danilo from Botafogo as the danger.
Flamengo. E outro jogador que eu morro de medo de ir pro Flamengo se chama Luís.
He's scared, he's terrified, man.
Luís Henrique, olha, gente, pode fechar as portas do ano, podemos comemorar bote, vamos torcer pro basquete, pro futebol.
Basketball feeders.
Então, dois problemas pro Palmeiras.
Basketball, no. Basketball? No, because Vasco was already relegated by Flamengo in the Basketball Libertadores. Do you want to play basketball to be relegated too? Do you want to be relegated too, Lugó? Oh, he wants to be relegated too, right?
It's Flamengo, look.
There's a danger.
Danilo from Botafogo and ends up at Flamengo.
And
another player then.
They are worried about Danilo and Luís Henrique ending up at Flamengo. Lugó is very worried, man, worried that Flamengo might sign both of them. For me, it's been proven. Leonardo Jardim has already gotten Pedro back. It's clear that Flamengo today would need Luís Henrique much more, and Danilo would also be great. Although Flamengo has a packed midfield, they've got De La Cruz now, but if they bring them in, that's great. Now, their concern is Flamengo. Look at that. Subscribe to Turma do Amendoim. That's the spirit. Let's react here.
Postura do Palmeiras, o Palmeiras vai ficar de novo um ano sem ganhar nada, porque campeonato paulista não conta, porque hoje, gente, só tem 2 clubes no Brasil.
Yeah, that's it.
Sem dúvida disso. Ficar em segundo lugar em qualquer campeonato.
That's right. Second, it's the best of the bottom lot.
São Paulo can barely compete with Palmeiras. In other words, being behind Flamengo means being last in any championship. There are only 2 teams in Brazil. Either you're first or you're last. And Palmeiras has been last in recent years. So there you go. Look, what happened at Leoquímica is something we must pay close attention to. If they don't stop this cowardly, fearful attitude...
Again, scared shitless.
Palmeiras had 2 more men.
You're desperate, man.
They could play on the ground, open up the game, and attack from the sides, but instead, it was just long balls. Yet they still criticize Rogério Senna. Palmeiras needs to learn how to play with the ball in every game. Palmeiras' soccer is predictable. Abel has no repertoire, no ideas at all. Everybody knows that. Only the apologists keep defending Abel. It's defending the indefensible. If it keeps going like this, there you have it. May 23rd, Saturday night, Flamengo versus Palmeiras at Maracanã. And on November 22nd is the return match. I want to remind you all of this, because here's the thing. Last year, Flamengo finished 3 points ahead of Palmeiras and won the Brazilian championship. Why? Those 3 points came from winning the head-to-head matches. They beat Palmeiras both times at Allianz Parque and also won at Maracanã. Today, Palmeiras' point difference...
They're desperate over Flamengo, man.
...is 3 points.
They're already scared. They're already shaking.
Mirasol's Maracanã match is the one left at Maracanã. They'll beat Mirasol in that game in hand and go 3 points ahead, which is why I say those 3 points are dangerous. Flamengo is behind Palmeiras, and they can get 3 points ahead if they win both direct matches. So, Abel, for God's sake, change your attitude. Palmeiras is scared shitless.
Scared shitless. They're desperate.
Que fez com o Corinthians na Neoquímica Arena, toma saco do Flamengo, toma saco. Então é pra cortar, e o Palmeiras tem hoje um elenco qualificado.
Palmeiras gets thrashed by Flamengo.
I'm not afraid of Flamengo, but of you, Abel Ferreira. A team that has Gustavo Gomes, Balão Freitas, Andreas Pereira, Vitor Roque, John Arias, even Flaco Lopes, Alan. This team can't have such a cowardly attitude against opponents like Corinthians, even with 2 men down. They need to attack, and that's what frustrates me.
So they're desperate. They're desperate about the possibility of Palmeiras. Flamengo is coming. They're already in Palmeiras' rearview mirror. Once again, losing to Flamengo. It's already been 8 years without beating Flamengo, right? In the Brasileirão, 10 at Maracanã, it's a tough situation. They don't win at Allianz. It's crazy, and they're desperate. I'm going to talk now about Fernando Gil, who celebrated in the press box. He ended up celebrating Pedro's goal in the press box. That goal where Fabio came off his line badly. Actually, he didn't get back. Pedro chipped it, scored a great goal, and he celebrated a lot. And then he said some swear words, celebrating and all, but in the press box, you're not supposed to celebrate. And then the Sport TV journalist Carlos Eduardo Mansour reported it on Twitter and all. So, the Association of Journalists made the right decision to suspend, to punish, just like I have been punished for supporting other journalists who at some point in the wrong way, because it's the rule, cheering there, celebrating, you can't do that. Although I think many aren't punished, it goes unnoticed, many, but that's okay. He got caught, it was live, there was a record, so it ended up being evidence against himself, okay? But Fernando Gil, he was punished. First of all, a lot of people think it's wrong to punish someone for celebrating. Look, Leonardo Baran, also a journalist, said the following: who made up this rule? You can't cheer in the press area? Why not? Who decided that? When the Brazilian national team plays, is it allowed? There's that too. Is it allowed for the Brazilian national team? Clubs can't? Where's the rule? It's allowed for the national team, but not for clubs. Man, who wants to make up this rule? You haven't even seen 20 stadiums around the world, okay? Yeah. Another thing, Leonardo Baran. If Pele celebrated in the press area during a World Cup final, anyone who wants to stop people from celebrating a goal in the Brazilian league can go take it somewhere, okay? I put it here, him and Galvão celebrating at the 94 World Cup. I remember it perfectly, okay? So the big point here is that the administrative board of Sergio, after documented complaints in a video clip showing the goal celebration loud and clear with swear words and homophobic comments. Guys, suck it, Fluminense. The guy said, suck it, Fluminense. Is that homophobic? Where is that? Everybody says, suck something. I even say, suck it, Ilan, suck it, Caroni, suck it, Bandera. Over at Placar, I say, suck it, Vasco. It has nothing to do with homophobia, nothing. There's no intent, nothing. Guys, look, this is dangerous, okay? Labeling this as prejudice, it's dangerous because it could be backing up a situation that's just a way of speaking. People from Rio, young people use this a lot, the suck it. It's normal. It's even a young way of joking around, like suck it, I don't know who. Man, I have my godson. He says, suck it, uncle, all the time. Guys, this is surreal, man. Where are we going to end up, okay? So, what professional ethical violation is this? Cheering in a targeted institution. Regarding your actions at the press box, look, punishing someone for cheering in the press box, like I've already been punished, what am I supposed to do? Although I think nowadays there's no more room for that, especially because you have club TVs where there are journalists, like I mentioned, Dani Boaventura herself, João Guilherme, and on other club TVs as well, working on club TVs and being fans together. So that's the reality today. Now, if you want to fight something that's already a new reality, okay? But if you want to punish, then punish everyone who does it. Everyone should be punished. So he cheered there. Okay, if the guy can't handle it, even though it was an unusual event, a great goal by Pedro and all, but if he thinks there's going to be a game where he might not be able to control himself, he just doesn't go. That's what I used to do. I wouldn't even go, okay, and when I did go there to work, I tried to hold myself back. All right, now punishing, okay, but now treating it as an act of prejudice. Come on, guys, that's not right. Tá? Yeah. Come on, we've had other traditional journalists, they've talked about this a lot, right? Take that central, do a pedo, take that normal. Man, when you think it's wrong, it is, okay? When you think it's wrong, for God's sake, it is, okay? Here's my request for reconsideration to ACRJ, the Association of Sports Columnists of Rio de Janeiro. Reconsider this because that's very dangerous, you know? Whoever decided to say that this could be a discriminatory term, that's dangerous, okay? That's a path we shouldn't follow because it makes no sense to try to control something that isn't discriminatory in any way. It's slang, it's something used by young people, right? That's it. Follow, like, and share on all platforms. On YouTube, subscribe, turn on notifications, and leave a like. Thanks for the support, my brother. Much appreciated.